Hello, friends. We want to do our little devotional here because it looks like our time has changed and we can see, people face to face, and especially Hope Ministries and Mission Bible School. And our topic today is: Do we live in last days, and what are we to do? And I just want to read you from Matthew 24, where Jesus talks about last days and what's going to happen, and he gives us some suggestions there. In fact, I believe it's a command. I was at the grocery store today, and there was a Time, magazine, and it says we live in a time of anxiety, and nations, the whole world, in fact, is anxious today. What's going to happen in the future? But Bible says that God did not give us spirit of fear, but spirit of power, godly love, and solid mind. So Jesus, when he talks about what's going to happen in the future events, there's going to be wars, rumors of wars, there's going to be plagues, and that is, COVID-19 and such, and earthquakes. And he says you will be hated by all nations. That is the Church of Christ. There were times of Soviet Union, for instance, where Christians were persecuted. Right now, there's some of that going on, mostly in Asia. But worldwide, we haven't really seen the persecution of the church, but it's coming. Jesus says, all nations, you'll be hated by all nations. And he said that the gospel would be preached to all nations, and then end will come. So do we live in last days? All the signs showing that we are, but how lost are those last days? John 2,000 years ago says, children, we live in last days. Now is the last days, but that was 2,000 years ago. But we do see that, the events that are taking place showing that Jesus' return is imminent. And when he talks about, in Matthew chapter 24, when he talks about the events, global events that's going to take place, and he gives us suggestion here in verse 45, and that's what I want to leave to you, with you today. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord has made ruler over his household, to give them food in due season? Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he comes, shall find so doing. Verily I say unto you, that he shall make him ruler over all his goods. And if that evil servant shall say in his heart, my Lord delays and his coming, and shall begin to smite his fellow servants, and to eat and drink with drunkard, that is, wasting his time, the Lord of that servant shall come in a day when he looks not for him, in an hour that he is not aware of, and shall cut him asunder, that is, destroy him, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So Jesus says, I'm going to the Father, I'm going to come back, and to his servants he says, make sure you give my servants, that is people, the food in due season. And food is the word of God. Food is the gospel. He says, just right before that, he says, the gospel will be preached to all the nations. And blessed are those servants who are doing just that. Right now we live in a time where we can't meet together, gather together. We can't do major, big projects and maybe evangelize on the streets. But we can maybe go online and do something like this and still reach out to people. Maybe send links like Bible app and that sort of thing. But still do the best we can and know how at any given time. Jesus will find us faithful if we are given food to his servants until he comes. So we shouldn't be fearful. We shouldn't be anxious about tomorrow, what's going to happen. Well, Lord is coming. We know that. But we are so blessed as servants of Christ to do what he told us to do, command us to do, to give the word of God, to preach the gospel, to share it with people until he comes. And when he comes and finds us doing so, blessed are we. But if this evil servant would say in his heart, look, I can use my time however I want and spend it, foolishly, just on himself. And he says that Lord comes back and will cut him off. In other words, cut him asunder. So, do we live in last days? We absolutely are. And what are we to do? We are to give the good news, give the word of God, give the food to servants. And Jesus says, whatever you did to the least of these, you did it unto me. And those are his servants. Those are the people he wants us to share the word of God with. So may God's peace and joy reign in our hearts as we're doing God's work the best we can in the circumstances that we are in. May God bless you.